criminals are here in Chicago to celebrate themselves. So I want to ask y'all, after more than 300 days of genocide, what is there to celebrate? Did they fund housing? Did they fund healthcare? Did they fund education? No. Did they stop the police from killing black people? No. Have they defended people's rights from right-wing attacks? No. No. What they've done instead is fund one of the most horrific crimes against humanity that we've ever seen. Everybody say that ain't right. Now, the leading Democrats say a lot of nice words about the communities who helped them get elected. But they prove through their actions that they serve the same corporate interests as the Republicans. So that leaves us with only one option. When Palestine is under attack, what do? We're going to fight to end all USA to Israel. We're going to fight for a people's agenda. And you're going to hear from some of the organizations that are members of this coalition about the work that they do in their communities and how that connects to the Palestinian liberation struggle. Now, those war criminals at the United Center, they think that having bombs and having a row of police makes them powerful. But the power is the thousands of people that are represented right now. So, I want to end with one chant. I want y'all to repeat after me. The people united will never be defeated.
The people united will never be defeated.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
All right, y'all, let's keep fighting. We're gonna win.
I'm marching.
Why is the police here? Why don't they allow you to have a march?
Because they want to agitate a peaceful protest. That's what I think it is. For them to be blocking off this street and not giving us the entire street is making it difficult for the thousands, tens of thousands of people to fall into a straight, steady line going down the street. So it's just ridiculous. This is the tactic that they feel that they using to protect who? Because we protecting us, as you can see. There's nothing going wrong with our protests. They just here to get on our nerves and to make it turn bad, and it's ridiculous. They just need to move out our ways.
Justice for them, who is that?
These are my loved ones. They was wrongfully convicted by the police, kidnapped. One been gone 17 years, and the other one been gone 14 and a half years by one of the highest paid sergeants on the Chicago Police Department. And due to us fighting and protesting at their court hearings, because they're back in court on post convictions, we was able to expose the corrupt sergeant. They forced him to retire 5 days later after Channel 2 News aired it nationally. So my demand is that they give us justice and that they convict these crooked cops who's kidnapping our loved ones and putting these wrongful conviction cases on them and leaving their kids out here without fathers and mothers. It's a shame. And then they killing our loved ones when they get behind these prisons.
And the connection with Palestine, what's going on there?
Palestine, they fighting up against the same oppressors, the white supremacy, the same people that's raging war, funding their wars, the same people that have been raging war on the black and brown communities for generations and centuries now. So they struggle is the same struggle that we've been dealing with as a black community. So it's no different. We want justice from all across the board. We all should be able to live in a free world. They say it's a free world, but nothing is never free without a price, and they always trying to use their authority and their power to overthrow communities, and it's not right.
And you have a black mayor who says he's in favor of the Palestinians. Why isn't he allowing the march?
I think it's beyond him. I have no comment on that because I'm not against our mayor, so I have no comment on that. He's fought a good fight to try to get us everything that we got today. The powers is always above them. They make it seem like that it's just on him. It's not. It's powers above him that's blocking him.
And who are those powers?
The same people that he got to answer to. Just like you got a boss, he got a boss.
What's your name?
Jasmine with Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression.
Jasmine.
This is the movement, this is the memento for the American people to make a change in their system. The system that built to serve only a certain people, not the American people. And this is a memento that we start today, and later on we pray that the next generation they will build on. Hopefully we end sending tons of military and weapons to other countries. speaks more than words. You know, she approved $20 billion to go to bomb more schools, more hospitals, more church. I don't understand how we even keep supporting slaughtering of innocent babies, women. I mean, we have a starvation happening.
We have launched abandoned Harris 24.
Right. Abandoned Harris, that we are not going to vote for Harris or her administration. This is the beginning to shift the system in America from two parties, from the powerful people in the leadership, the white supremacy in the Congress, to have it in the hand of the people.
What kind of party would you like to see?
I like a system that's fair for everybody, that serve our citizen, our people, not the rich people.
What party?
Doesn't have to be party, could be not. It depends what system the people in America, they work to change. Because we started it right now, and the next generation gonna build on that and decide what worked for them the best.
You're fed up with both parties.
Oh, they are the same. How they are different. How, as an American citizen, what we benefiting from them? What did we benefit? Nothing.
Tell us your name, please.
Fadya, F-A-D-Y-A, and then last name Rishek, R-I-S-H-E-Q. We need to stop also a foreign country to influence our politician, to put our politician to decide what they want for themselves, not for the people in here. This is very important.
Influencing the elections here.
What is it?
Which are the countries you think are influencing the elections here?
Israel. Who else? AIPAC, we have it. Well,
Netanyahu was invited to Congress. What does that say to you?
That when you have a criminal, a war criminal, come to the White House, and everybody, all the evil white folks, clapping for his genocide, even his own people, they don't want him, but the politician that they serve their own agenda, there was a clapping for him. That's not who we are, and hopefully that we make the change. We may not see it now, but in the future we will. Same thing that the black community in the slavery, in the segregation, this is what the Palestinian working for. We don't want segregation. I was born, raised in Jerusalem. I'm not allowed to be citizen. Palestinian, Christian, and Muslim are not allowed to be citizen. Only Jews. We here demanding and fighting for our equal rights. Simple and easy, like the black community. They want equal rights.
Why do they support an apartheid regime in Israel? It is against equal rights. The government, U.S. government, the Democrats and Republicans.
Because they benefiting. You need to see any genocide. You need to see who's benefiting from that. Palestine, Jerusalem, in all the country, not just in Japan, in Mexico. Even I saw protests. Oh, it's a beautiful movement. It's a hope for all of us, specifically for the American.
What does this issue mean to you? And you're a member of AFSCME, District Council 30.
I feel like this is about labor rights and human rights and just the dignity of, workers, Palestinians, people everywhere.
And the Palestinian unions have asked for support of American unions. What can American unions do to support the Palestinians?
Be loud. I think that's the single thing we can do. And of course, vote.
And what do your co-workers think about what's going on?
A bunch of them are here today.
Is AFSCME taking a position on the ceasefire?
I'm not sure they've taken a formal position, but we are here today, so.
How many people does AFSCME 31 represent?
I don't know. We're very new to AFSCME.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a librarian. Yeah, cultural workers.
They're destroying a lot of libraries and schools in
Don't even get me started.
What's happening there with libraries?
Oh, that's awful, yeah.
Talk about it.
Yeah, but again, it's about human dignity, Who's choosing what we read? Who's choosing how we raise our children? It's all kind of part and parcel of the same thing.
Through a character, Jews united against Zionism. Well, with the help of the Almighty, we are Jews, and because we are Jews, true to our religion, we are in total opposition to the genocide in Gaza, to the occupation of Palestine. It's not Jewish. Judaism is a religion of 3,000 years to be subservient to God. Zionism is a movement of a little over 100 years. It's a nationalist, flawed political movement that is illegal according to the Jewish religion. We're not allowed to kill or steal. We're not allowed to occupy. We're not even allowed to have a Jewish state since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago. So what they're doing is criminal, and they're doing it in the name of my religion.
Do you think that either of the parties are addressing the issue in a real way?
Are we addressing it?
Or any of the parties, the Democrats or the Republicans?
Well, unfortunately, they have been conned into accepting the Zionists as if they represent the religion, and they bought into their lie, their very vulgar lie, that it's anti-Semitic when people speak up against being occupied. And we as Jews are crying and hurting with the people of Palestine. It's because we know how well the Jews and Muslims live together, and their friendship that was given to the Jews through hundreds of years is clear. It's not anti-Semitic to stand against being occupied. It's a simple ploy of the Zionists to intimidate and silence. And unfortunately, the political parties have been under pressure of the Zionists that if they want to show any sympathy for the Palestinians or speak up against the occupation, they're referred to as anti-Semitic. And therefore supporting the Zionists in the vicious occupation. It can't go on. God should help. It should stop immediately. And we plead with the political candidates now to realize their obligation to God and use their whole lofty position to stop immediately the murder, the genocide in Gaza, and the occupation, just like apartheid started.
Nejma. And I'm here to spread awareness of the illegal occupation that's been going on in Palestine for 75 plus years.
And the United States, Biden just announced they're going to give $10.5 billion more to Israel. Why are they continuing to support this?
America and Israel are allies, but I believe it's for the wrong reasons. Their goals are for the wrong reasons. They're for the, sadly to say, Zionism. This world is run by Zionism, and they both are pro-Zionism.
They both say they're Zionist.
Yeah, they're both pro-Zionist.
Where does that leave the Palestinians?
That leaves Palestinians in a very, it's genocide. It leaves them on the verge of ethnic cleansing, because they are being ethnically cleansed.
And how is that connected with what's going on in the United States?
So the United States has taken it. They're helping. So since they're allies with Israel, they're helping kill our people. And America has a large number of Palestinians living here. We're also born here. We're American Palestinians, where we don't agree what's going on in our country and back to our people. So we just want it all to stop.
And what's going to stop it? Because it seems like both the Democrats and Republicans want to continue this policy.
The only thing to stop it is the power of the people. The power of the people is what's going to make the leaders somewhat have a change into their mind or their beliefs or anything. Because with the power of the people, that's what's going to make the change around the world.
My name is Victoria Hinckley. I'm 22 years old. I'm an organizer with Students for a Democratic Society in Tampa, Florida, and also with National SDS. And we're here today as part of the coalition to march on the RNC. And we're proud to march and lead with the student contingent here today to demand an end to U.S. aid to Israel, to demand that the genocide be ended, and to call out the Democrats for being guilty of genocide.
And how have the Democrats been involved in going after students who are critical of Israel and having encampments? Do you think there's been organized effort to crush these things?
100%. The Democrats are definitely guilty of attacking the student movement and attacking student organizers in specific. Are we good? Okay, we'll wrap this up in just a second. Yeah, so we saw Biden actively say that, we deserve to get beaten by police, we deserve to get tear gassed by police.
Biden said that?
Well, he definitely supported it, and he definitely encouraged violence to be used against protesters, and we heard him, be vocal and call us terrorists and call us violent for protesting on our own campus to demand an end to the genocide. Obviously, Kamala Harris has done the same as well, speaking over pro-Palestine activists and people that are, speaking out against the genocide and calling her out for supporting funding to Israel.
And in '68, the SDS was involved, but it seemed like there was a more revolutionary movement at that time. People were against for overthrowing the government, for capitalism, against capitalism.
Sorry.
The difference between now and 68.
Sorry, I really just have to go. I'm sorry about that, but you know, we are fighting for an anti-U.S. aid to Israel. I think the difference is, you know, one difference is we have a lot of Arab and Palestinians here today fighting with us, and we're going to see a free Palestine in our lifetime.
My name is Jack Polson. I'm an independent journalist, and this weekend with my close colleague Lee Fong, I broke a story in The Guardian Saturday morning that was a headline story based upon leaked documents from the Israeli Ministry of Justice that had been published by a hacktivist group named Anonymous for Justice. And essentially it shows that the longtime former general counsel of the Democratic National Committee, Joseph E. Sandler, through his firm Sandler Rife, which represents many members of the Democratic Party, had secretly contracted with the Israeli Ministry of Strategic Affairs, which runs the propaganda program known as originally Kala Shlomo, which translates into English as Solomon Sling, later renamed to Concert, and then Voices of Israel. Basically, this program subverts student activist movements. It funds lawfare against such organizations, and Sandler Rife was secretly helping them avoid registering as foreign agents. And so these documents show that the Israeli government actually knew it was violating the foreign agent laws of the United States, and you know, it was only just revealed that it's in fact longtime head of the Democratic National Committee that was in fact helping them do that.
Well, the U.S. government wants other organizations that act as agents. They charge them with acting as agents. Right. Venezuela, Cuba. Right. Why aren't they going after the Israeli government? And what does that mean?
I mean, so generally speaking, the Foreign Agent Registration Act, or FARA as it's called, tends to be mostly enforced upon what you might call geopolitical rivals of the United States as opposed to allies. A notable exception is actually this year there was the very high-profile arrest of the wife of Max Boot, a Washington Post columnist. His wife was in fact a former CIA agent that was taking bribes from South Korea's intelligence agency. And so that was a notable exception, but Israel is so close of an ally that the United States is really hesitant to enforce FARA. But even with that said, the Israeli government at the highest levels of the Ministry of Justice, including its Deputy Attorney General, was caught in these emails talking about how they knew that they were violating the FARA laws.
Do you think journalists have been targeted in this country who are critical of U.S. policy to Israel?
Oh, absolutely. I think literally any journalist that publishes even a remotely high-profile scoop on that's critical of Israel, you're going to get immediately targeted by an organization like CAMERA, which is the Committee on Accuracy in Middle East Reporting, and I forget what the A is, maybe analysis. So that even happened to me the moment I published my scoop.
What happened to you?
Well, I mean, it's targeting is maybe a bit of a strong word, but basically they try to smear your reporting as, you know, inaccurate, as irrelevant, as just anti-Semitic. I mean, literally the moment you publish a story, in fact, even literally before you publish, if you just go out for comment, you're immediately smeared as an anti-Semite, which, you know, happened to me, for example, in a story I published again with my colleague Lee Fong earlier this year, where I got a hold of WhatsApp chat messages of a venture capitalist group called J Ventures that operates out of California, where I had the messages of executives from companies such as Wix targeting employees who even said Free Palestine on social media and getting them fired. So literally just by reaching out for comment, you're immediately called an anti-Semite, and this is a fairly concerted strategy run by, again, historically the Ministry of Strategic Affairs, but circa 2022 that transitioned to the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs, which is where it currently lives.
So you're saying the government of Israel is actually financing and organizing in the United States to shut down people who are critical of Israel and accuse them of being anti-Semites, that kind of thing?
Absolutely, and in fact that's not even a secret. That's been very widely reported by U.S. Israeli press since I would say circa early 2017 was when the first undercover story really broke by Al Jazeera. There were two parts to it. It was called The Lobby. The UK version of it was published, but the United States version was so explosive that actually in fact the Zionist Organization of America, which is a very right-wing organization allied with Trump, lobbied to have Qatar threaten that they would need to register as foreign agent if they published the documentary. And so it was only leaked through a pro-Palestinian news outlet called Electronic Intifada that year. And again, it's undercover footage documenting, for example, the Israel on Campus Coalition, which works very closely with Stand With Us, detailing how they copied a counterinsurgency strategy pioneered by General Stanley McChrystal in the war in Iraq to target against, for example, U.S. student movement. So actually, maybe to reframe your earlier question, I'd say students are much more targeted than journalists are, and that's by far the biggest effort. I mean, journalists, we can deal with it, right? But I think it's a student that's just trying to show up and...
Professor,
yes. Yeah, there have definitely been many campaigns. For example, in that documentary released, again, 2017, 2018, by Al Jazeera called The Lobby. It details, it actually has quotes directly from the Israel on Campus Coalition talking about how they run anonymous smear campaigns against, for example, professors.
Is anyone calling for their prosecution? And I mean, it seems like they're flagrantly acting as agents of Israel, and there's factual circumstances. Anyone calling for prosecution of them?
Well, I mean, certainly the Israeli government is afraid, probably more so now that they're being exposed of having been afraid. In fact, in their own documents, that was what they said, is they were afraid that their actual hiring of Sandler Rife to study the foreign agent law actually exposes them to uncomfortable conversations, because the very fact that they're investigating their potential violation of FARA means that they are probably, that's an embarrassing fact, right?
At the press conference today, they said that basically Biden, the Biden administration, Blinken are like spokesmen of the Israeli government. Do you buy that?
I mean, I think there's definitely been criticism that Biden historically has actually been to the right of the Israeli government. Fun fact, the story I broke on Saturday was actually essentially re-reported by the Jerusalem Post, which is a pretty right-wing Israeli newspaper. So I think it kind of tells you something about the culture of the United States, that we're actually to the right in many ways of even the right wing of the Israeli government. And so, of course, that's also going to apply to our leadership.
And the idea that the leaders of the United States are Zionist, they support Zionism. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think I try to stay away from sticking to terms. I think the fact that the United States is actively funding and arming the killing of what's been more than 40,000 citizens of Palestine is a very important fact to not lose sight of. But yes, I mean, I think I have done a lot of reporting recently on a concerted propaganda campaign by the Israeli government to pressure social media companies such as Facebook, Instagram.
Didn't Facebook hire an Israeli government official to monitor their material?
Well, what I reported on was that the so-called International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance redefinition of anti-Semitism, which basically was formulated after the Durban Declaration at the UN circa 2001, was specifically designed to say if you support, for example, the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement, you are an anti-Semite. If you criticize Zionism, you are an anti-Semite. So it was actually a movement built to equate criticism of Zionism with anti-Semitism. And there are covert organizations, for example, Cyberwell, which is run out of Israel, is staffed full of former Israeli intelligence officials. They hid it since my reporting. They deleted it from their website. But they've actually been a trusted partner of many U.S. social media companies like TikTok, like Facebook, like Instagram. Well, Meta is the company. But they have been actually got a major win where Meta agreed that Zionism can be used as a proxy for criticism of Jews. And so criticism of Zionism is getting closer to being treated as inherently anti-Semitic.
And they've done that in Britain as well, in Germany. I mean, to be critical of Israel means you're an anti-Semitic?
Sure, I mean, that is the IHRA redefinition of anti-Semitism, which you could trace back to Natan Sharansky, who's a former Israeli interior minister. He was also former minister of diaspora affairs, famous Soviet refusnik, and he pioneered what was called the 3D test, which ultimately became the IHRA redefinition. And again, that's the entire goal of this project, is to say if you support BDS, if you criticize, for example, the Israeli military's actions in Palestine, you are an anti-Semite, full stop.
And how can people get more information about your work?
You can follow me on my Substack at jackpolson.substack.com, my colleague Li Fong at lifong.substack.com. You can read my recent pieces in The Guardian There's one on Saturday on the keywords to look up are Voices of Israel concert in Kel Shlomo.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
In the countries like the Philippines and also in Korea Peninsula, between South Korea and North Korea, the war has never ended. There's an armistice, and it's really the U.S. Military that's there and still doing like military exercises. And in fact, they were just doing it like last week, and now they are collaborating with Japan in the name of protecting from North Korea. But it's really about, we believe, it's really about weaponizing in our land against like China and other forces. So all of that militarization, military power is really endangering people's lives there because it could instigate, actually a war with North Korea.
And I mean, in Japan, there are people opposed to the bases in Okinawa. I mean, people are against militarization of Asia. Why is it that America wants to encircle China and really supporting taking war to Asia?
No, I think that's the question. I mean, South Korea in that region is a very strategic location, and it's really the government. It's all the leaders of all the states, both like in South Korea, the U.S., but also with Japan as well. Really against people's wills and against people's safety and what people are wanting and self-determination. They're going ahead, and it's all about military power. It's about imperialism. It's about corporate power.
I'm Kathleen Burke. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm here to protest the genocide in Palestine. I'm opposed to the United States paying for a genocide anywhere, whether it's in our own country or in another country. Our politicians are leveraging the money to pay for this genocide. We are opposed. I live in a state which was, there was also a genocide in my state. The land was taken from the Native American people. I think most Americans understand that, and most Americans are opposed to this genocide. We oppose apartheid, and we oppose the Democratic Party continuing this genocide that Joe Biden has instated and Kamala Harris intends to continue. The people of the United States, in my opinion, do not want apartheid. We do not want genocide. We don't want to pay for it, and that's why I'm here.
My name's Jeff. I'm a psychologist.
And you have the pictures here. 512 healthcare workers have been killed.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? I mean, it seems like, highest number of healthcare workers killed, and
not that a healthcare worker's life is worth more than any other life, but it is a war crime to target healthcare workers. And so it's one of the pieces of evidence, along with targeting journalists and hospitals, refugee camps, of war crimes.
And are they doing this on purpose?
It seems there's some evidence of hitting that on purpose. I mean, you can read some of that and listen to some of that in the media, analysis of things like the targeting of hospitals.
And what does it say about America? Because it's being funded by the United States government. I mean, the Democrats and Republicans.
I mean, it says we're complicit and we're responsible, and we would have the power to stop it. So.
And healthcare workers are organizing around the United States, healthcare workers for Palestine.
Yes.
Is there a change going on among healthcare workers in the United States about this?
I couldn't speak more broadly about healthcare workers. I'm not sure. Yeah.
You came out. Would you work in a private or public agency?
At a nonprofit organization. Yeah. There's a lot of hospital workers here.
What's going to stop it?
What's going to stop the war?
And the murders of healthcare workers.
Yeah. I don't know that anything will stop it, other than the United States standing strongly against it. But I think importantly, a precedent is being set here. So this is not just Palestinians, but a precedent is being set for what conduct you can get away with in the name of war and self-defense. And so I'm concerned that a very ugly precedent is going to be set for this century. The rest of the group, yeah. yeah.
What's the group?
Healthcare Workers for Palestine.
I see.
Yeah.
How many of them are here?
Between different types of healthcare workers, I've seen at least 30 or 40 in the group. I'm sure there are many others who are not part of this group or that I just don't know personally. Yeah.
Being a healthcare worker, what do you think about when you hear about hospitals being bombed, doctors and medical workers being killed, ambulance drivers being murdered?
Yeah, it's a war crime. Even in a war zone, there are rules, and people have to be able to tend to the wounded, whether civilian or combatants. So that's not an excuse. So yeah, that's one of the fundamental things that transcends war. and is defined as war crime. You have to be able to still take care of the wounded.
Lily, Jewish person who's a anti-Zionist.
And what do you think about the fact that the Zionists are saying if you're against Israel, you're anti-Semitic?
This is not true. I'm Jewish, and I don't know, like that's my culture, that's my religion. So how can I be anti-Semitic? And I think it comes down to our values and morals of like what it means to be Jewish and how we want to treat people in the world, welcoming your neighbor. And I don't think there should be a country that just for one ethno-nationalism. That's not like a Jewish thing. It's a new thing that's kind of created by our...
And, well, the Zionist movement got support during the Second World War.
Yeah.
They said that Israel would be a place where Jews would be safe from anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
I mean, has that worked out?
It hasn't. And I understand, like, you know, it's like someone who comes from, like, my family has history in that, and, like, the views is that it's supposed to be a safe place, but it isn't. And is it at safety at the expense of others? Okay. Like, no. So you have to have safety for everyone. And anti-Semitism still exists, and I don't know, if anything, this is creating more tension with Jews.
And Netanyahu has been invited to Congress, and he attacked Jews specifically.
Yeah.
For what did you think about his statement in Congress to Jews in America?
I mean, yeah, it's just bullshit. Like, I don't agree. Like, I don't know. You just can't get blindsided by that. And like,
an Israeli coming to the United States attacking Jews who are critical of Israel?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're gonna do because it's not about being Jewish. It's about maintaining power. That's all he cares about. So he's gonna use like language like that to get people to support him. But I mean, a lot of Jews don't support him, and I don't know. We got to keep that up.
He says they're Jew haters, the ones that don't support him.
Yeah, I mean, just to like cause a divide and like, or you know, and like make us seem like the enemies for wanting everyone to live together peacefully. Hopefully, one day.
Are you for equality for all people?
Yeah, definitely.
You vision, wouldn't that mean the end of a Jewish state?
Yeah, I don't really believe there should be any like ethno-nationalist states, and I think that all people should be able to live somewhere with equal rights. And I think that, yeah, Jews have a connection to the land, and so do other people, and I hope to see a future where everyone can live there peacefully. But you know, right now it is an apartheid state. And again, like, safety can't come at the end of like killing other people and the non-safety of others. So
Biden and the Harris administration have announced another $20 billion more for Israel.
Yeah.
What does that say to people in the United States, not just Jews, but everyone here?
I mean, they don't care about people in Gaza. They don't care about people in Palestine. They just want to uphold the power alliance with Israel and, you know, keeping the U.S. presence as having control in the Middle East. It's all about, like, tactical, imperial strategy. They don't really care about people.
Carol Gucci. I was brought up in the apartheid era in South Africa, and in that time we told the whole world that it was separate but equal. So we put all the black people in a little area, which in homelands, which is very similar to what the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians. They're putting them in land which is not nearly as fertile, and they certainly don't have the same equality. So I'm very proud of my country for standing up in the international court and proclaiming this a genocide. That's it.
So you're from South Africa?
Yes, I'm from.
So you think Israel's an apartheid state like South Africa?
No question. Even Nelson Mandela said so long ago. Keep moving.
That's doing great. Thank you so much. Why do Israel have so much power in the United States?
Go into the march if you're with us. Otherwise, you're getting in the way.
Why does Israel have so much power? Well, it looks to me, I mean, this is not a South African point of view, but it just looks to me as though people are too afraid to equate anti-Israel with anti-Semitic. So for many years, I think people have been too scared to say anything against Israel because immediately they branded anti-Semites, which is not the case at all.
Well, South Africa is still trading with Israel.
South Africa is trading with Israel, but we have a long history of friendship with Israel. The white government does, but
why is South Africa? In fact, they're Zionists, Wertheim family that have clover dairies. They're making business. Zionist companies are making business in South Africa.
Unfortunate. I guess that's a leftover from the white administration because we were very close friends for Israel for many years. I'm disappointed to see that because most of the black population under Mandela were very much against Israel.
My name is Tony Jones. I'm the chair of New Orleans for Community Oversight Police. We're a local affiliate in New Orleans of the National Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. In New Orleans, we've had kind of a very hard experience fighting our blue city and our red state on the question of war in Palestine and genocide. In our community, we've experienced local New Orleans residents being murdered by the Israelis in Palestine, and we have yet to get our city council to stand up and actually acknowledge Palestine at all. They won't mention it by name. They won't pass a real ceasefire resolution that calls for the immediate end of all aid to Israel, and they won't acknowledge the fact that we have a local Palestinian young man by the name of Tawfiq who was murdered by the IOF. They don't acknowledge it at all, and so we've been fighting them tooth and nail since October. Just on.
How was he murdered? What happened to him? What happened to him?
So he was a New Orleans resident, and after October 7th, he was visiting home, and the IOF claimed that he was throwing rocks, and so they claimed that was justification for murdering him. But I believe that story, not after all of I've seen, and I don't think that I can, or myself or any others who came from New Orleans can rest until we see justice for our, fellow.
Seems like they have carte blanche to do what they want, to murder people.
That's what it seems like to us, and but we have every right and every power to stop them, because all of their power comes from funding in the U.S. and all of the money in the U.S. comes from working day people like us. So we're going to fight, and this is how we fight back.
No other nation, no other country is allowed to influence our politics except for Israel. In fact, we influence all other nations. We try to dabble in their democracy, and when they have elections that we don't like, we call those fake. On the other hand, Israel is a major contributor to our policies, foreign policies. And that should be illegal for another nation to influence us, just as much as we don't like China, Russia, or Iran, or any other nation to influence our politics, domestic politics. Thank you.
Together, organizing themselves as working class people to fight back, because we don't need a new Democrat, we need a new party. If you believe that we need a new party of the working class, join our contingent, talk to us about what socialist alternative is, and let's show the Democrats, the Republicans, the far right, what the working class thinks about the atrocities that we see today. It's going to take working class organization in order for us to fight back against the right wing, to fight back against capitalism, to fight for the world that the 99% deserve. Kamala Harris is a cop. All this madness has to stop.
Kamala Harris is a cop. All this madness has to stop.
Kamala Harris is a cop.
All this madness has to stop.
Kamala Harris is a cop.
All this madness has to stop.
Kamala Harris is a cop.
Anti-war town, a town home to the largest Palestinian population in the U.S. That town is Chicago. It's Chi-Town. And I just want to say, even though us as Palestinians, we have been grieving for the past 10 months, we have never been more proud to be Palestinian, whose administration gave unlimited bombs and bullets to Israel, and gave Israel in addition $20 billion of U.S. taxpayer dollars. Israel does the bombing. Israel pulls the trigger, gleefully carrying out this genocide. But the U.S. is paying for it. Genocide Joe in 2020 tried to scare us with the threat that Trump would cut UNRWA, while his administration suspended UNRWA funding since October. The politicians in this convention are telling you that Palestine should not be your issue. When U.S. police departments get trained by Israeli occupation forces and bring those military tactics back to kill black and brown communities, Palestine is your issue. When our tax dollars are being used to kill doctors, nurses, and paramedics, Palestine is your issue. When the IOF blows up universities in Gaza and kills 15,000 children that will never return to school and refuses to fund education here, Palestine is your issue.